Tudong. Today is a Merry Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas. Now the significance of Christmas Day, as we know from Google, Britannica, it was the birth of Jesus Christ, right? And it's a day when people exchange gifts and to encourage this kind of good human values of compassion, which is shared by all races in this world and all religion. Kindness, compassion is something which has been encouraged and always been put forward to be done by people of all race, or regardless where they are, especially in this time of critical time where things are not so good, not so smooth because of the COVID, and a lot of things has been breakdown and displaced. So it's a time where people get together, and it's good-hearted people share the comfort they have enjoyed to those unfortunate people. And this is what we call compassion on the outer area. And compassion to yourself. The compassion to yourself is something that, are you kind to yourself? This is something we must ask ourselves. How compassionate are you to yourself? In terms of when you get angry, when you get jealous, when you get heated up with some argument and you get stressed out with certain issue in your life. So we should reflect on this compassion that the Buddha said. Right? The compassion must be to yourself first, because why? If you yourself can't even be kind to yourself, it's very hard for you to be kind to other people. Now, most of the time, we focus externally. We human beings focus too much on the external thing, and we've forgotten to focus inward on our own personal welfare. Are you kind to yourself? Of course, if that's a responsibility to your unfortunate people, yeah, of course you're going to put it. But again, on the aspect of internal welfare, we talk about internal welfare, it means your mind state, your mental wealth, right? The happiness that you can gain from your inside, from your heart. This is very important. When the person doesn't have compassion in himself, he gets himself woke up, angry, heated up, and can't see things clearly. Then you talk about compassion, you can't really have the compassion because your heart is full of fury, fire. When the heart is full of fire, it's impossible to practice compassion, because our mind got all this unwholesome state of mind. All this unwholesome state of mind has occupied our mind. And how can we bear the thought of compassion? Impossible. The thought we are bearing is what? Hatred, jealousy, anger, and all sort of unwholesome thought arising. Jealousy is something very, very hard to overcome, especially human being. Jealousy between a spouse. When you see your wife or your husband talk to other lady or other man, they will say, "Oh, that thing must not true." They start to have a kind of doubts. And if every time there's a phone call, you start to suspect, this is something that triggers a lot of sadness in the end. Because why? Because your mind starts to suspect. And how can we overcome this mind state? You need to practice mindfulness. You got to be mindful of this mind state when it arises. You got to throw a question. This is something a lot of people has mishandled the whole situation within yourself first. You mishandle this situation. The doubt arises and you aggravate your doubts. That means you think too much and think until out of hand, you can't control, and all this unwholesome thought turn it back and haunt you. And when this thought has overcome you, haunt you, what will happen next? A lot of unwholesome things will happen. Unhappiness, sadness will happen. A lot of things that you're going to say will happen gradually. A certain thing we see. Some people, they are so stupid. They like to do all sort of, try to behave or to make fun of certain things, like to be real. And nowadays, a lot of prank going on. At the end, a lot of things can mishandle, and it got out of hand. What happened? So, be truthful enough. Be truthful, always be honest, and be truthful to yourself. This is very important. If you cannot have the honesty within yourself, it's very hard for you to handle things externally, because this lying mind state that lies within our heart will be the fire that will trigger a lot of mistakes in our life. So remember in our life that your own life lies in your own hand. Everybody say, we are fated. We are fated. No, you are not fated. You are fated if you don't change. You are not fated if you want to make a change. We have the right, we have the opportunity to make the change. But of course, the changes must come with the realizations of one mistake, or one personal mistake, of the weaknesses you have, and you want to make a change because the mistake that we committed have bring us pain, intense suffering within ourselves. So we must, the first thing is, we must accept that, okay, we have made a mistake, we want to make a change. Then there will be hope that you will change the fate of your life. And this is very important. A lot of people, they like to go fortune telling, star reading, tarot, card reading, and then they believe what the card tells them. It's a card. It's not something real. The real thing is you yourself. When the anger arises, you have the control whether you want to get angry or you don't get angry. And most of the time, we have been engrossed with the emotion because why? We have been overcome by this kind of emotion all the time. And this sankhara, we call it sankhara, this kind of mind state has been brushing through our mind all the time. And we lack of this self-control, this mindfulness, we lack already gone. We let the mind break loose, endless thought, torturing thoughts, and we don't know what to do with them. That's why you got to repeat Putto, watch your breath, practice concentration practice in order to calm your mind. This is something very, very important for the real happiness to arise within one person. If there's no concentration, you can't even concentrate in whatever thing you do. Sometimes you'll be doing something and your mind sort of blur out, you can't concentrate. Because why? Because there's too much sankhara. We call it this thinking going on up in the mind. And it's a form of mental energy drainage. It drains out your mind. It drains you out flat. So you got to recollect yourself, be mindful, recollect, bring it back to the body, be mindful of where you are, be mindful of where you are all the time. Where's my breath? Where's my body? Where are you now? Straight away when you execute this thought, you'll be back to the present straight away. And you just repeat it. Okay, be mindful, stay in the present until your mind really calms down. Then you will see the contrast between the calm mind and the mind that is not calm. Then you can say, oh, this is the way mindfulness works. This is the way concentration works. Then you have confidence in the practice to upgrade yourself to a higher level of happiness within your own mind. And that will be the sharing for today. You see, our mind, you look at our mind state. Sometimes there's certain issue in our life. For example, anger or certain unhappiness that we have. Certain people, their mind state is very fast. They're angry, they got cool down very fast. It's just like water. The mind just like a water. You just draw a line on the water. The water will just have a line and then disappear, right? The water will be back to normal. And people who take longer time when they got angry or they got certain issue in their life, it's just like you take something and draw on the sand. There's a mark. There's a stain of this unwholesomeness of state of mind. The anger, the feeling, the emotions is wobbling in your heart. Right? It stays. It will go away unless there's rain or wind. Why? Because when the rain comes, then the sand will be like no mark again. Like we go to the seaside, right? You see? When we go to the seaside, we walk. There's so many marking of the lake, people walking past. When the sea comes, sea water comes, flat again. It's unlike water. Water is faster. Sand is longer a bit. And the worst one is what? Linger on and on. You never forgive people. Just like taking a piece of metal piece and scratch it on what? On the rock. When you scratch it on the rock, no matter rain, shine, water splashing, it never disappeared. It's always there. The mark is always there. Likewise with the way we look at things in our life, our attachments, right, to all this kind of certain issue that I will never forgive or I will never forget the person. No. If you harbor this kind of mind state, you are suffering. Even though you may be smiling, happy, but you are suffering because you never forgive people. You never let go of the past. So whatever it is your choice that you have to make. I mean, like just like people doing goodness. A lot of people say, I do goodness.
But after you do the goodness, how come you don't get a peace state of mind? The more you do goodness, the more agitated, not happy at all. It's not goodness. It's comparing. It's like competition. If you do goodness, you should be cool. You should be happy. Should be carefree. Whatever. Who want to do, do. Who don't do, it's okay. I do. You're happy. You're happy with what you're doing, and that's goodness. But if you're comparing goodness, competitions, oh, that's very miserable. Oh, people is doing this, so I also must do this. People is doing that, I also must do. So that I'm doing goodness. No, that's comparing. That's not the real goodness. The real goodness is you do already, you see the benefit part of what you are doing, it's beneficial, skillful, and it brings you a good mind state, and that's happiness and peace. Cool, not agitated easily. That is the real goodness, the real goodness of the mind. So whatever things in life, whatever thing you do, or you engage with any activities, regardless of whether religious or not religious, you look at this mind state of yours. After engaging, if it gives you that kind of bad mind state, you got to look into why. Most of the time, we have this kind of emotional setback of certain issue, the past memory, the emotions of the past, the memory of the past, the feelings of the fear of the past, of certain issue, and it lingers in our mind, and that because we take it too hard. We take it too hard. Every time this thought arises in us, we feel the impact. Because why? We're so attached. We say, oh, this is what happened to me. Oh, you see, the mind of ours is always shouting within yourself. That's why it's so important to practice mindfulness to address this just to watch the mind state and not to have the dialogue. If it is an unwholesome mind state, look at it and try to dialogue yourself bring it to a more skillful. Is it silly to keep dwelling on this kind of bad mind thought? Just to think the reverse of the whole issue, and you see, you feel better. You dare to twist and turn around. Don't just let this kind of emotion and mindset to dwell in your brain, your mind, and keep torturing yourself. Things that may happen, but it passed long time ago. But the impact, the memory of the issue, still it is there. And why? Because our mind is agitated. Our mind is always propping into it. And whenever this thought arises, there's an impact. There's an impact on our mind. So how to understand? We got to observe it and try to reason now. Talk to yourself, have a self-dialogue, or talk to some other people, and try to spread the thoughts of goodwill to yourself. Even though there's this thought, you can realize that if your mind reach a state of concentration, of calmness, you can really offset this kind of mind state. Because why? You may still have the thought, but it doesn't have an impact when your mind is calm. And you will realize that if you keep practicing mindfulness of the body, of the feelings, and keep mindful of what is the thought arising within yourself, sooner or later you will realize that, oh, it's just a thought. The more training you put, the more mindfulness you instill in your mind and your body, the more calmer you will become. Because why? You won't be dragged. You won't be pulled by the nose by the power of this thought anymore. Instead of lingering into the context, you pull yourself away. You say, puto. Better for me to chant puto than to be influenced by this crazy thought that doesn't give me any benefit at all. When you can do that, you'll find life changes. Life changes not because you earn more money. Life changes because why? You're being able to handle your own mind state. You're being able to relax, to accept the reality of life, to accept what is happening and all. Okay, never mind. We try to make good, try to be kind, have compassion on yourself, and you'll be better. Okay? And that'll be a sharing for today. Today is one Pra, or we call it the Uposatha day. This is the day where the bhikkhu in the Theravada tradition will gather to recite the Patimokkha fortnightly. Right? Initially, we thought that we were going to do it on the Yu Yang this morning. But after considering that a large group of people and the inconvenience, we decided to bring it back to the temple. And
Again, there's a slight improvement, as you can observe. Well, I don't know who can perceive that, yeah, they were happy, right? That's why you got some sprinkling of water from the sky. Yeah. It's very true. You can see, John, this is coincidence. No. 3 times, right? 3 times, yeah. Because they were very happy, right? And before we depart, another time. So there is a good sign. So we are not trying to say that this is something abnormal or what, but it's just to prove that if you're doing any form of goodness, especially we call it bhavana, developments of meditations, and especially we go to a place like that, sacred place, they rejoice, happy because you are well behaved. And no kiki kaka, so they, yeah. Let me tell you, yeah, they're happy, yeah. And even monks also come. The unseen monk. Yeah, so it's good sign. Good sign because that's to show that regardless of your religion or what, if a mind is put in a state of goodwill, good intentions, just a human being, regardless of your race, regardless of who you are, if you have this good intention and good wills toward all beings, you will always be very welcome and always good behavior. For heaven's sake, good behavior, well behaved. The respect for the place is very, very important. And it's not that I'm the one talking. You, those participants that witness for yourself, that how come someone open the tap and close the tap, open the tap 3 times, and it's something very inspiring. And the meditation was very good. At first was some mosquito, just a while only, and after that no more, nothing. This is the form of encouragement you can get from the nature. There is even more, but of course we are not going for this kind of what do you call it, exciting kind of thrills, feeling. But sometimes it's good to trigger this type of thing to inspire you to the practice. Because every time, like I say earlier, if you are in the built-up area, well-protected area, you don't experience kind of things because your mind is full of defilements all over the place. But if you're in a nature, you see how this, we call it nirvana, the hindrances, find it very hard to intrude into your mind. Right, for example, sometimes you may sit and a bit of tiredness, you just fall to sleep. But if you are in this kind of natural environment, there's elements of the unseen or the elements of, hey, what is it out there? You don't know. So you're very alert, right? You're very alert, very comprehensive in your practice, We don't have to talk about mindfulness. You will be damn mindful sitting there. This is something very good. That's why, why the Buddha always encourage us to go to the forest, go under the tree, go to the open land, go to the cemetery, go to a place where there's no one that goes. Because it enhances, it gives you that kind of plus point in your meditation practice. And a lot of people, they always protest or dispute, the Dhamma is in your heart, why should we go there, blah, blah, blah. Then we attachment to this and attachment to that. I said, what's wrong with attachment to the forest? Will the tree give you any harm? No. But if you stay in a place like that, attached to aircon, to food, to this sort of comfort, any improvement in your meditation? No. You're more and more lazy, more and more complacent, right? And that's why we always encourage, regardless whether you're a monk or whether you're lay people, if you're in this training, we just let's go, do together. And you can see for yourself and the improvement and when there's no one lead you, same thing, you can go to a park and remember puto, don't go to the park and enjoy the view and start to hallucinate things, daydreaming. This is very important. And again, with all this training, when your mindfulness is intact into your body, is intact in your mind, then you can really, we call it arrest. Arrest what? Arrest your own mind state very, very clearly. Whatever kind of mind state arises within you, you know, and you have the power, you have the, what do you call it, the decisions to decide, and you are mentally strong. You feel you're going to be very mentally strong, which last time you don't have the strength, the mental strength, but now you don't know why. Where does the strength come from? It's from what? It's from the trainings. And this is very important. You got to keep at it. Upkeep. My advice is normally we will say that, oh, you organize in group. Every time you have got good companions, you go. Even though you're in outstation somewhere else, you just go and meditate. It's good for you. And that it will be the things, your own mind state, your own welfare and happiness is your mind. Is your own mind state. Then you can do away with a lot of things in your life. You can do away with a lot of those things that you're always longing for. So miserable that why I don't have this, why I don't have that, why I'm so this, why I'm so that. You can do away with that. No more. Don't stop. All this craving of the mind that dragging us into, lower realms of the mind, then you will know, well, oh yeah, I don't want to be a slave to all these things anymore. It takes training, right? It takes training, okay? This is something I would like to share.
Just now I was saying, we don't just believe what people tell us. They say, I heard. They say, someone say, got news come out like this, like that. Don't believe what they say. Go and see for yourself. Go and experience for yourself. Have a feel for yourself. Take for example, in this trip when we are doing our survey, we do from the Google map, Google Earth. There's road you can pass through, blah blah blah, and so forth. But when we go there, the door is locked. It belongs to the private property. And you can't go through. That's why it's so important in life. Whatever thing we do, we must look at our intention. Ask yourself what you want in your life. You got to ask yourself and set a target and pursue. And in life, we won't always be smooth. It's up and down, roller coaster. It's just that the roads that we're going, some place got tree, some place got no tree, and no tree, what we will encounter is a bit harsh weather, hot, heat, and this. And when you go into a forest, wow, you look at the exclamation of your own heart. Wow, that'll be good. And you straight away, it strikes us on, life is like that. When things are not going very well, we got to exercise our endurance. We got to endure. We got to be patient because we're going through this period of dark period. We call it dark period, or not so nice experience. But what to do? This is life, right? We got to go through it, and it is karma they've created. We're committed, but it's not going to be like that all the while. And as we persevere, we pursue, we don't give up, and things will get better gradually. From a place, you're walking through a desert, you start to see bushes, start to see big trees, right? You start to see, wow, nice cool wind coming, and you see how it affected our mind. And the back state of the mind is when it's very hot. Just in our life, when we encounter something that is not so pleasing in our life, we can feel the heatiness, the unpleasantness in our mind. It's not pleasant at all. But what to do? We are human beings. We got to coexist, and we got to look at this symptom of the mind and try to understand, because of what we have done, because of what we have did, and this is what happened. Okay, endure it, go through it, and like what I said just now, we'll come to the cool place. The cool place is when you get over, or when your mind, you understand, it's sankhara, it's part and parcel of life, just like the route we're traveling, right? Certain routes that we're traveling, you have good shade, you have a lot of convenience store along the way, restaurant, blah, 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 and so forth. And so pleasing, so nice. And certain place that we pass through, just bare. No tree, grass, and cow, and animal, that's all. And it's a good reflections for this kind of survey. Good reflection, because you look at the cow, you look at the sheep that was under this hot sun, and they got no shade at all. Even though you may see that they are animal, they can endure. But you look at human beings, why can't we endure? We are just walking a road that the pioneer has built. Can we imagine when the pioneer was building the road, how difficult it was during that time? They don't have all this kind of convenient stuff like we're having now. And they got to endure the kind of harsh weather condition, living condition, and yet people endure for the sake of building a road. And here we are just walking past, and you can see how our mind chicken out, how our mind grumble about so hard, so this and so that. and just show how weak our human mind is nowadays. Unlike the pioneer of the past that has built this country with all the sacrifices, this is the way we can gain encouragement. This is the way we learn the hardship or the past experience of the pioneer to give us a kind of encouragement to ourselves. Like the Lord Buddha, before the Lord Buddha found the truth, you know how much suffering he got to go through, going through all kinds of this kind of training with no teacher to guide him. And after he gained enlightenment, we are the blessed group. The bunch of us, all these blessed people, very blessed. Because why? We don't have to go through like what the Buddha go through. We just follow, and yet we can't do it. We always go against, try to contest. The Buddha said, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. You must have Samadhi. You must do this, do this, do this. But our minds always contest. No. This is new error. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do something new. When the farmer talking, we just follow what the Buddha told us to do. The Buddha's teaching. You will never go wrong because why? All the past teachers, they have been through it and they have preserved the tradition so nicely and so unique. And come to a time, we just do it. We just do it, experience ourselves, be another witness for the Buddha's teaching, the real witness. At least you got to hit the stream entry, the real witness, okay, you got no doubts in the training. At least then we can be very proud of ourselves in the trainings. We go to this kind of training and we never feel the people who brought us food. We never feel the people who supported us in terms of the lodging, medicine, clothing, and so forth. We never feel them because why? We do our duty properly. We meditate and we preserve the truth of the Dhamma. And that'll be the sharing for today. Yatha varivaha pura paripurenti sakarang Eva beva nito tina petana upakapatit Ichita badita dumha kipameva samichatu sape purentu sankapa Chanto panara so yatha manicho diraso yatha Deya vivajantu samaro govina saduma devava vandarayo sukhi degayo gobhava viva tanasile sanichang buddha Vajayino Cakaro Dhamma Vatanti Ayuhano Sukhang Alaya Samipade Sekapete Vasa Parita Jatiyo Sila Vadeta Mochetawa Sanyate Brahmacharino Yadata Devata Sunta Sadakinamadese Tapucita Bujayanti Marita Manayatina Tatonang Anukampanti Mata Putavaurasang Dewata Nukampito Poso Satabarani Pasati Pavatu Sapamangalang Rakadu Sabadewata Sapabuddha Nubhavena Sadasoti Bhavantute Avatu sabamangala rakadu sabadevata sabadhamma nubhavena sadasoti bhavantute Avatu sabamangala rakadu sabadevata sabasangha nubhavena sadasoti bhavantute